Well, I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town. Probably die in a small town. Oh, the small community. And all my friends is small town. My parents live in the same small town. My job's a small town, provides a little opportunity. Educated in a small town, taught to fear Jesus in a small town. Used to daydream in that small town, another boring romantic, that's me. I seen it out in the small town. Had myself a ball in the small town. My wife was 13 years old when I wrote this song. In that small town, just like me. No, I cannot forget from where it is that I come from. And I forget the people who love me. I can be myself here in this small town, and people let me be, this is what I want to be. Got nothing against a big town. Man, I'm still hayseed enough to say, look who's out there in the big town. But my bed's in a small town. Oh, that's good enough for me. 'Cause I was born in a small town, and I can breathe in a small town. Gonna die in a small town. Oh, that's probably where they'll bury me.
Welcome to Private Sessions. I'm Lynn Hoffman. He's a Grammy-winning rock and roll Hall of Famer who has sold over 40 million albums and has amassed 22 top 40 hits in the U.S. alone. Today, we are so pleased to be spending this hour with John Mellencamp, right now on Private Sessions. John Mellencamp, welcome to Private Sessions.
Thank you for having me.
It's a thrill to have you here. I know you don't do many shows, so we know that this is a very special thing, and we're really excited to have you here and perform this hour. And before we get started, though, talking about No Better Than This, your new album, I wanted to congratulate you on a few things. First, for your induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in 2008. I know you were nominated a few times, and you finally made it in. We're so happy about that. What did it mean to you to be inducted by your friend Billy Joel?
I've known Billy for a long time. Actually, I think it was 1981. I had a big hit record, a huge hit record, and out of the blue, I get this phone call, and this voice goes, "Hi, this is Billy Joel." I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And
I could tell it was him by his voice. And he was the first guy to ever call me and congratulate me on the success of having, that hit record, which I thought was, he didn't have to do that.
No.
So ever since then, Billy and I have always been very friendly to each other.
Well, I also wanted to congratulate you, too, on something 25 years in the making that you just recently celebrated the anniversary of Farm Aid, which has raised close to $40 million for farmers across America. When you started that with Willie Nelson and Neil Young back in '85, did you realize that you were going to make such a difference?
I think that originally we were so naive that we thought this would be, the only concert that we would do. And at that particular time, the agriculture bill was going so haywire, and there were so many small family farms going out of business that I think all three of us just assumed we would do this concert and they would see the error in their ways and correct, the situation to help the small family farmer.
Right, right.
Well, we found it didn't work like that.
No.
So 25 years later, and I'd like to take a lot of credit for it, but the truth of the matter is it's Willie.
Tell me about the making, both technically and geographically, for No Better.
Are we talking about the film?
The album.
I just kind of buckled down and wrote like 12 more songs in like 12 days. And then I looked at where the tour was going. And I called up T-Bone and I said, hey, listen, I'm going to be near these vicinities. What do you think about this, this, and this, and this? And recording it, in the moment, as opposed to dragging around, a 24-track machine.
Yeah.
I said, let's just, because originally music was, a recording was done to capture a moment, to capture a performance, like with Robert Johnson, to capture him playing his song. Well, today's music, there's no capturing anything because everything is constructed.
Sure.
It's built, okay, let's put the drums in, let's put the bass in, and put this in, put that in. So there's not really any moment. So our idea was, let's try to capture the moment with musicians and actually play music, and let's not try to use any technology at all.
So you went to these incredible locations that it just blows me away. First off, the first African Baptist church in Savannah, Georgia, where the Underground Railroad went. Did you actually record in the basement of that church?
No, we actually recorded right on the pulpit where they give the sermons. And but there are bullet-sized holes down in the basement for air to get in to. They look like they're a design in the floor, but actually they were for ventilation and to pour water through, which had to be unbearable heat,
I can't even
for
imagine.
people hiding underneath there. And don't forget, Georgia is hot.
Yeah.
So the Underground Railroad went through there, and people would have to stay down in those caverns for maybe up to 2 weeks sometimes before they could move them out.
Move them on, yeah.
And it's the first Black Baptist church in America, and the thing that sets it apart from most black churches is that it's right downtown Savannah.
So you made your way over to Sun Studios in Memphis, Tennessee, where you also recorded, and something was mentioned about these black X's on the floor,
Well,
where other people had played before?
Well, Sam Phillips had flushed
like
out.
Elvis?
Like Elvis and Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash, yeah.
Yeah. Sam Phillips had flushed out that room because it's an odd little room. It's not your normal recording studio room. It's really a store.
Well, there are tours going through it all during the day.
We couldn't go in till like 7 o'clock.
Wow.
And I thought, when I first heard that, I thought, oh, this is a drag. Can't even start recording. But it turned out to be wonderful because to walk out of Sun Studios at 3 o'clock in the morning and stand on the street and the rest of Memphis is asleep and you're leaning against that wall that has that Sun neon sign and you're smoking a cigarette, it's very romantic.
Yeah.
The idea of, and there's nobody on the streets. I mean, the town is asleep.
I read that it's the first mono album to reach the top 10 on the Billboard charts since James Brown in 1964.
That's unbelievable. I mean, it never even dawned on me until I got that phone call. Said, hey, John, were you aware that there hasn't been a top 10 record since '64 that was mono? And I think that was the real success of the record. I mean, the fact that we were able to make the record, the fact that it made the top 10, and the fact that I think the songs are pretty good is about all that one can expect from making records today. You know,
different now.
you can say what you want about the internet. Oh, it's the future, and you got to figure this. It's not working. It's a dangerous tool. So the internet has ruined the art of making albums, which old fellers such as myself do. You know, we don't make just little records, singles. We make albums.
Well, this is art. This is your craft. This is what it used to be.
Sure.
Before all of this, like you said.
Yeah, and it's all been destroyed. And anybody that thinks that there's going to be some kind of recovery or some kind of rediscovery or that it's going to be better, it's not.
No.
The quality's worse. T-Bone has totally gone off the grid. He won't, you know, he won't even text me anymore.
He's gone anti-everything.
Yeah, he won't even email or, you know, he won't do that.
Interestingly enough, I read that he said that this album that you made, which is back the way things used to be, he's called it a haunted record. Would that perhaps, we talked about Sun Studios and the Baptist Church, African Baptist Church, but you also recorded at the Gunter in room 414 in San Antonio and stood in the corner where the...
Well, Robert Johnson recorded in 2 locations. He recorded in Dallas, and he recorded in San Antonio. And we tried to get into the building in Dallas, but it's condemned.
Oh.
And there's no electricity. And I said...
You would have done it, though, right?
Yeah, I said, I don't care. I said, we'll bring generators and stuff in. There's no air conditioning. I said, well... There was no air conditioning when Johnson recorded, so what difference does it make? So, but they just absolutely refused to let us go in there. So then we went to the Gunter, and they were very accommodating. And we had diagrams of how Johnson had set up and how the 2 rooms connected and how, you know, Johnson was in this corner and the recording equipment was in this corner. And so we set up exactly the same
exactly
way.
like that.
Took all the curtains off the wall and brought in hardwood floors because, you know, there was no carpet. So we tried to get the corner to sound as much as the way it did when he probably recorded there as we could.
I bet he was smiling. A big smile.
Well, I don't know if he was or not, but we sure were.
Next week, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Greg Allman brings down the house only on Private Sessions.